Hi, I'm Kay Robinson of Kay Robinson Photography and Reading Transforms, and today we're going to be talking about how to design your book imagery based on when you are photographing your book. There are two ways to plan how you're going to photograph your book. If you are photographing your book before you read it, you're going to want to pull elements that match the color scheme of the cover. So if your book is white with a lot of reds in it, you might want to pull some red colors. You might want to have some very light colors, or you could go with a darker red to kind of bring out the red in the cover. If you're going with a book like this, you're going to want to pull maybe some mint colors or some light pastel colors to accentuate the cover of the book. You can also use elements that you find on the book's cover. For example, if there are flowers on the cover, pull flowers that match or look similar. If there are jewels on the cover, you can always pull matching or very similar jewels to accentuate the jewels on the cover. If you take a look here, on this book cover, there's a lot of color that goes all over the place, and I used sequins in bright, popping colors to almost draw out the elements on the book and make it extend onto my background. The opposite is also true. If you take colors that are different from those that you find on your book and use them in your imagery, you can make the book pop. So if you have a very dark book cover, you might want to use a light background and light objects surrounding it. If you have a light book cover, maybe you want to use a darker background to make it pop in your image. Now, if you are photographing your book after you've read it, you can actually draw from elements within the story. If there is something that happens in the book that maybe isn't on the cover, you can actually bring that into your imagery. For example, if you look in this image, this book has a character who wears a shoelace to tie his hair back. This is not something you would know from the cover. This is not something that you'd know until you read the book. But once you've read the book, it makes perfect sense. So I would go out, grab a shoelace, and photograph it with the book cover. It makes perfect sense once you've read it. There are other ways that you can design your book imagery, but for now, if you are photographing your book before you read it, focus on colors and focus on the content of the cover. And if you're photographing your book after you read it, focus on the content of the story and bring in elements that you might not otherwise know exist until you read the book. I'm Kay Robinson of Kay Robinson Photography and Reading Transforms. Stay inspired.